Right. Well, good morning. Nice to see all of you here again this morning, Friday morning, end of the week. It's been a great week for me, and I hope that it has been for all of you. So today, what I wanted to go over with all of you was just focusing primarily on a single shampoo, but then I'll kind of cover on a few other topics, which I'll share in just a minute. What I'm going to do to start is I'm actually going to mute everybody. And so what that happens with that is that if you do want to have any input, you can either message in or you can unmute yourself. It's just to minimize background noise. That's basically the reason for that. This is a recorded session. So with that, again, as I touched on just before I started the recording, is that if you do want to have a copy of it, the login is my phone number, and we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you again for joining this Friday morning. So here's today's lineup. The primary focus of today is to go over a single shampoo. This has been a product that has been in the works for Davines for many years. And I just feel like it deserves and requires kind of its own individual attention to ensure that we all feel comfortable and confident with the reason why behind it. After that, I wanted to touch on CSA Farms. Because there is a promotion that was primarily going to be going on the month that we're in, which is Earth Month. Then I wanted to cover a few Davines updates, just touch on Ethio trees, a tale of beauty, what's been happening in the news for Davines, and then just kind of wrap it up with the reminder about the certification for sustainable salons. So that's kind of like what today looks like. So it's just like a nice touch base, and also great to see all of you. So a single shampoo. I'm hoping that some of you have had the opportunity to be able to try it and to enjoy it. It was given out, I believe, the very, very first time we all were given a sample to try would have been at the Worldwide Hair Tour 2 years ago in Parma, Italy. What I loved about that opportunity was that they gave us a sample with the idea that we should be sharing feedback with them, because it was still in motion of testing and kind of developing and just trying to continue the journey of this single shampoo. Then, of course, we did receive another copy or product in Iceland for the Worldwide Hair Tour, which was actually almost exactly a year ago now. So now, 2 years later from our physical interaction, we now have the product available to us. Depending on what market you're in, there's going to be various different promotions that kind of help people get introduced. In the Vancouver West Coast beauty market, I really wanted to make sure that this was a solid launch. So we created our own promotion, which is basically when you purchase 6, you get a liter. Whereas generally the promotion is purchase 12 to get a liter. But I really wanted to make sure that this is a product that would be, being used regularly. Of course, right now, the liters are not necessarily going to be as helpful for you behind the chair, but maybe in your own personal shower if you're a salon owner. But also just great for people to be aware that this is something that is readily available. I do know that I think that it was just over a year ago that there was a press release in one of the big magazines based on a single shampoo. The feedback was incredible, but we weren't ready to launch it at that time. So I do know that social media itself has had a strong presence with this product. And in turn, there's been many people that have been familiar, but also patiently waiting to try it. There's really an incredible journey when you think about really the why behind a product like this. But to me, what it really summarizes is completely Davines in every aspect. Now, granted, the obvious thing that someone may come up and say is like, you just have a shampoo and you spent all of this time on a single shampoo. But at the same time, it really is sharing that message of continuously trying to create something, but just the journey that we're on, because we never really hit where we want to be. There's always another possibility about what we could achieve and what could be more. So this is sort of that significant kind of aspect of the journey of Davines, and hopefully a journey that we're on to align with sustainability and improving the world. And so when we look at a few key points on this, this would be a truthful product. It would be made with complete honesty, transparency, and very humble. And so that's kind of where the saying is, this is our best imperfection, is knowing that in order to feel confident and comfortable with everything that's been put into this product, this beautiful product of a single shampoo, it's understanding and recognizing that it can't always be exactly how we want it to be, that there are going to be some limitations in order to make sure that how can we make a product like this the most performing, but still supporting sustainability, naturality, biodegradability, and all of these other key components that are going to be important to align with Davines. So this is what you'll see on the actual bottle. I went in search of a bad person. I found none as I, seeing myself, found the worst. So it's an interesting message, you know, and always with Davines, we have such deep messages that we share. And so with this, I love this specifically in a time like now, where maybe when we notice that people are feeling tense or stressed, it's very easy to be judgmental on others. And the message on this is really just kind of bringing it back to us of like, you know, just do what we can do. And so therefore be able to support sort of the example of what could be better for sustainability. So here are going to be some interesting points for you to be aware of with the formula, which we call, this is not a shampoo. It is a declaration of sustainability. And so that's where when we say this is really such a strong message for us. So the plastic is made with 100% renewable and vegetable sources. So this is going to be really where we look at what is going to be the plastic that we're making this with. When you go down to the bottom of this list, it is also 40% less plastic than what you would find in your standard product that is out on the market. So when you kind of take an average of all of the plastic that you see in professional shampoos and conditioners, this is 48% less. One of the tricky parts when we think of kind of sustainability and we think of green and we think of the environment is that it gets very tricky, because I think I've touched on this. If I wanted to open a salon and I want to call it green salon or eco salon or the you know, whatever, something with sustainability, the bottom line is that the end consumer believes that certain things have been measured or monitored, or there's a certain criteria, but there's really no one to monitor that aspect. And so with Davines, what's incredible is to see a journey for a product like this, but to still know that there are so many different aspects that we don't even put on this packaging. It's just for us to be able to share and know from our passionate standpoint. So with this, 48% less plastic. So you definitely will feel that when you're feeling the packaging, but also important that the lid is 100% recyclable. This is something that we're not always aware of with plastic, where sometimes when you're, and the majority of the times when you're purchasing a product, the lid is actually not the recycled part because it's made of a different plastic, which is for the purpose of it not breaking. So this again was another step that was taken. So this is what we're thinking of when we look at the outside of the packaging. We're going to say that it is made with renewable vegetable resources and recycled materials, but it is also less plastic with a recycled lid. So that's going to be kind of the story on the outside of it. When you see something that's clear with Davines, it usually symbolizes the idea of transparency. But also when you see something that is quite liquidy like this and not creamy, it definitely is going to show that it is a product that can be used specifically for any type of hair, because it doesn't have sort of the creamy consistency, which can be more heavy for a finer texture of hair. I do see a question come in, so I'm just going to see what our question is. Do you anticipate that the lids for color will also become recycled? This is definitely a good question, Dennis. At this point, I don't know where some of the aspects stand when it comes to sort of all of the different packaging, but I think that these are things that now that we've discovered the ability to do it with the lid, it will just continuously keep going. You know, it's sort of like once you kind of have that secret or that knowledge, you can start, you know, incorporating it into other things. I'm going to say that based on what's happened recently, in the world that we're all experiencing. Some of the projects have going to, kind of maybe been affected in sort of the manufacturing as far as making changes, just because there's new things that are being produced. And even I've noticed, some of the things that maybe we weren't considering or weren't interested in, say our recycled single-use capes, we're now running out of. So it's just interesting to see the things that were popular before may be less popular, and things that weren't popular are more popular. I was even thinking and this is so off topic, but Davines has those visors for cutting fringe. I was even thinking they should remake them and make them longer, sort of as like the mouth shield, but the face shield as well. So, who knows some of these things, but this is a really good point. Thank you, Dennis. So now looking at as well, moving down the list, another part that's 100%, which is 100% traceable ingredients. I'm not sure if you're aware of how challenging that really is. And so when we look at these percentages, what I want to kind of remind you of, sometimes when we're looking at a percentage, let's say right now there's more than 10, but let's say there's 10 people on the call. When we think of 100%, it means all 10 of us are doing the same thing. And when we go to 48%, it means half of us are doing that. And I always like to kind of think of it in terms of people, because it kind of helps us realize the impact that is. So 100% traceable ingredients. So that means every single ingredient, we know where it comes from. When you think of, the quinoa protein in our color, when you think of the biodiversity and the slow food farms, those are examples of us knowing exactly where things come from. Of course, we have a list to adhere to ensure for all of our products that everything meets a certain requirement, but it could mean that certain ingredients come from one farm to another, unless we're saying that it's 100% traceable. When you think of a meal that you made, you may know where all those ingredients come from the store, but unless it's coming from your physical garden or your friend's garden, you have no idea where those things are coming from. And so this means we're supporting things from an environmental, but also from a social standpoint. 100% natural fragrance. And of course, when we bring these topics up, I do recognize and realize that it will open up questions of like, well, why isn't everything 100% natural? Well, there's going to be a few reasons why. Sometimes it means the fact that when we work with natural fragrances, there can be a stronger potential for irritation. Sometimes essential oils and things that are, more higher in naturality can cause more sensitized issues for people. So again, trying to find a way that we could use natural fragrance, but making sure that it is going to not be a concern for the average consumer or the average person to use. So minimal irritation possibilities. Then loving the fact of 100% carbon neutral. We'll touch on Ethio trees in a few minutes, but with Ethio trees, that is our way of being 100% carbon neutral. That means that the packaging, that the formula, that the whole operation of the Davines Village is all 100% carbon neutral. So this will be an incredible factor to think of. I honestly don't know of another product that can present themselves in this type of capacity. So when we talk about the out of 10 people, we're now moving into biodegradability. So 98.2%. So I don't know if any of you guys have done competitive sports or run or, cycle or anything where there's a timing aspect to it. So I know for myself, I run all the time. And when I look at the fact of changing my pace by just 15 seconds, it's a significant impact for me to push myself to be quicker by 15 seconds per kilometer. So that's why when we look at 0.2 being so important, is that it is a big deal. 98.2 is a bigger deal than 98. And so with that, that means that within the certain time frame that we measure how quickly something can be biodegradable, which is looking in that 30 to 60 days, the product, 98.2% of this will be completely dissolved with no trace left in water or on the earth, which is incredible. Like, it really is such a high achievement. And so I like that, because now when we look below it, it says 95% origin. So with that, it's like the natural origin is important, but actually what is happening before we get the ingredients and after we get the ingredients is going to be the stronger impact on the world. If we're not physically ingesting something, natural is important, absolutely. But if we're not ingesting it, it's not going to have the same benefits to having high percentage of natural. High percentage of natural is important for the world, but if that ingredient or any of those ingredients would make something extinct, it is better to be manufactured something than to use it natural if it's being used external. So the bigger focus would be biodegradability. And so with this, of course, the question always comes in, what are the other parts that aren't? And in science and in cosmetic products, there's always at this point in time to get the performance factor going to be a small portion that is not biodegradable within that 30 to 60 days. It doesn't mean that it will stay around forever. It just means that it is not going to be disappearing in that time frame. But still, this is a huge achievement. So looking at 100% recycled plastic, we're looking at the 100% traceable ingredients, the fragrance being natural, 100% carbon neutral, biodegradability being higher than naturality, and of course, focusing on the less plastic with the recycled lid. So these are going to be so many factors that kind of encompass the journey. So as you can probably imagine, when we look at the journey that this has been on, now we can kind of see another few points of really where we're thinking kind of like what's happened along the time. So the chemists that have been involved in this have had 21 years of experience. So this is a huge accomplishment for them, thinking of how long they've been involved in the cosmetic world, but also working with Davines to be as environmental and sustainable as possible. This product has been in the works for 4 years. So we are very aware of it, probably for the last 2, but prior to that, there were 2 years. I think that that's remarkable because we have a product, one single product, a single shampoo that required all of this, 4 years of making and 262 formulas. And that's why I can tell, and I know and believe that this is such a huge statement for Davines to be able to say, we're going to make something that really is pushing the limits, the boundaries of our industry, and hopefully will raise the standard. And so, yes, it may not be something that everyone completely understands because it's not always a quick conversation. But I think that when people understand the why behind Davines and they really embrace what the culture and what the beliefs and values and purpose are, they will completely understand and embrace this as well as the incredible performance. So now looking at the fact of it being a little bit more on the liquidy side because of the ingredients that are being used, this is what we're going to see a little bit more when we work in through this slide. So with that, I always say again, I really want to encourage people to be using liters because when we're using liters, it is going to be more environmental for many reasons. One is you are manufacturing less containers. You're only manufacturing the product once. And of course, there is a cost saving, so that also works in a sustainability, but it confirms the relationship that we have with our end consumer. And we are the reminder in the shower. With something being a little more liquidy, it is easier to manage from my perspective with a pump. You pump it out, and so then when you have that amount, you're able to distribute it quite easily through your hair, as opposed to sometimes when we're turning, you have to be a little bit more careful when something is more liquidy. But of course, understanding that this is what needed to be the end result based on meeting the criteria that we've been working on for 4 years with 262 formulas. So we use an olive oil surfactant. A surfactant is a cleansing agent. So that's going to be where you find your lather. This is going to be the part that generally for most people is very, very challenging to have because they may want to use a little bit of a natural surfactant, but they'll mix it in with other types of surfactants because that gives you that rich lather. We just became accustomed to needing or wanting that. I think it's probably because when we were little kids, you'd shampoo your hair and you'd have the big bubbles and, you'd kind of shape your hair in all different ways. But truthfully, as some of you may use a cleansing cream on your face, or even cleansing cream, you know, the Love Curl cleansing cream in your hair, you'll know the fact that it doesn't always need to have that big lather to be cleaning. But we were able to get a beautiful lather to meet the end consumer's requests and demands while using an olive oil surfactant. At the same time, we were able to stop and protect this olive tree for the slow food Presidium from becoming extinct. So this is also a huge statement, is the fact that we said we are going to support this olive tree, farm, and in order to ensure that they have longevity as they are, continuing their journey for supporting biodiversity and the slow food farms. So that's a huge check mark, of course, for the big, main ingredient, which is giving us our lather and our cleansing while supporting slow food farms, biodiversity, and protecting a local farm within the Italian community. So hopefully you're familiar with quinoa. And so quinoa-based conditioning agent, this is what we're using for the softness and shine and also protecting color. As you know, we use quinoa protein in our color and our mask with Vibrochrome. So this is almost like a continuation, building on the existing relationship and the existing performance value that we found originally. So this will be our second main focus for ingredient. Now, this is another really strong factor. Of course, it also can become a slippery slope, because when we say we use something instead of silicones, the question then comes in, which products have silicones and why are silicones used? So I wonder if any of you can think of why silicones would be used. Silicones are used in many different types of skincare and in hair care because they give a smooth and soft finish. There are different types of silicones. There are the original silicones that we think of from years ago when we first started in the industry, or even if you didn't start that long ago, but however long ago that you started was probably a different type of silicone. Then a water-based silicone was created. I actually saw a demonstration once, and it was very similar to cooking, where the oil-based silicone was sort of put in and mixed, and they couldn't kind of like mix together. And then I saw the demonstration with a water-based one where it was able to give a nice creamy consistency and completely rinse out. So there really is nothing wrong with a water-based silicone. At the same time, if we're trying to improve naturality and biodegradability, and also kind of thinking of the performance supporting all of those reasons, then it is going to be important that we find a way to minimize or eliminate it. And so this is what we've been able to do in this performance. So in this performance, we have used carbohydrated sugars instead of silicones, which are going to be smoothing and detangling. So again, a huge achievement. So now you look at sort of these three key points, which I'll reiterate before we get into the last one. The olive oil surfactant, which is the cleansing agent, which is going to be high in naturality, but it is also going to give you the fact of supporting a slow food farm, but also a farm that potentially was about to become extinct. And supporting biodiversity in the world, it is so important that we're able to support all of the unique farms and fruits and vegetables and any type of sea life or animals from becoming extinct. Moving into quinoa based, that's going to be our conditioning agent, but it also does have the protein benefits, and it is going to support softness and shine, but also encourage color support. Instead of silicones, we're using a carbohydrate sugar, which is going to give the smoothing and the detangling properties. So that's going to be where you're going to be able to run your fingers through beautifully without feeling that resistance. And then fatty acids. Fatty acids are what we often will find in skincare, and that's where we're going to find our moisture and our softness. So really now looking at a single shampoo can support all of these incredible benefits from the outside in, thinking of how it's manufactured, thinking of the packaging, thinking of the ingredients, and 4 years in the making, 21 years of experience for the chemist, and 262 formulas. That's a lot to digest in one product. And so that's why you can see that it really is a staple on its own and really giving the message of Davines. So here's a more complicated picture to look at. And this is something that I thought would be worth sharing with you guys, just because a lot of times we do run into that situation where people are trying to understand that they see a product that says one thing, and then why is Davines saying another thing that maybe looks the same, and why is it such a big deal? So what I'm referring to is, how is naturality really measured, and how does Davines measure it? So most commonly, as you're going to see kind of like on this side of the screen, most commonly the criteria is not very restrictive. It allows ingredients that are not going to be fully sustainable, and it considers natural origin when there's at least 50% of the formula is natural. Okay, so from a marketing standpoint, any other product line could say that they are high in a percentage, but all they have to have is 50% of the formula. So for Davines, Davines wants to become completely and is completely transparent and says, if we're going to say something is 100% natural origin, it needs to be 100% natural origin, not 50%. And so with this, they're more restrictive, they're more selective, and making sure that they're transparent in the communication, and saying that it needs to be 100% of the molecular structures and no synthetic aspects. So this is an interesting thing. And of course, it's sensitive because it's not like we want to go out there and tell other people they're doing something wrong, but it's just showing why it was such a long process to achieve something that maybe others present in a different way. And so again, it's really about what we want to do as a company and to support our values of sustainability and the environment, and not being judgmental on others, but just understanding that that is why you're going to see it's such a big focus for us and such an achievement. So this is where it's going to come from for a single shampoo. So now you're going to be able to see kind of how Davines would look at it versus kind of what it would look like for another type of criteria. So if another criteria, another company were to measure this product, they would say that 98% of it is natural origin and 2% is synthetic. Whereas when Davines is looking at how we are manufacturing it, we're going to say that 95% of it is natural origin, because that is the amount that truly is 100%, and that there is a 4% that's natural and modified, right? So that's coming from a natural resource, but it has been modified in the lab, and that 1% of the ingredients are synthetic. And so that's how we're breaking it down. Again, I don't know that this is something that is worth sharing with the end consumer, because, you know, it is a fairly large amount to kind of like process or share. But I think it's just nice for you guys to have an understanding of where and why this has come about in the way that it has. So that is going to be our single shampoo. I really hope that you have the opportunity to try it. Of course, you can order it as on its own right now for your own personal use. I have to tell you, I have really enjoyed it. I love the consistency. I love the shine that my hair feels. I love the softness, and of course the fragrance. But more importantly, this is a message, and it's my way of voting with my choice to be able to support the most sustainable product that I'm aware of out there for a shampoo, and that will be a single shampoo by Davines. Now, if your end consumer or your guest or you are wondering about what you could use as a conditioner to support it, honestly, you can use any of the Davines conditioners, absolutely 100%, because all of them have been made with care and attention and are handcrafted in Parma, Italy. At the same time, if you're wanting to find a product that is closest to aligning with the values of a single shampoo, I would probably go ahead and use the Authentic Balm. And so the Authentic Balm is a conditioner that was formulated years ago, that even Davide from Davines would say that it was, you know, most soft and most gentle enough that it could be used in the ocean. And so in this case, that's what I would partner this up with, so that you could see that the two are together. I just realized that I didn't pull it out, so I'm going to find it. You're just going to see me disappear for a second. I'm like, where is it? Of course, it's in the bottom of my tray. So just in case you're wondering. So this is the Authentic Balm that I would be using. Keep in mind with the Authentic Balm, there's a few other reasons that you may enjoy this as a partner for a single shampoo. This has many purposes. It can be used as a conditioner, a leave-in conditioner, which is beautiful for curly hair. It can also be used as a face cleanser, beautiful as a makeup remover, and incredible as a shaving lotion. So there's many purposes all in one. So if you wanted to support the ideal sustainability package, that's what I would support together as these two-in-one together as a support for sustainability and the message within Davines. So that's kind of how I would work with it. I do know that we do have some testers and some samples on hand, so this could be something that we could work on if you're wanting to kind of promote it together so that you could give it a try. So that's going to be what we look at for a single shampoo. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to our next topic? Okay, so the question is, I have lots of clients that are looking for a shampoo for their babies and their children. Would this be an okay option? So it's an interesting topic to think about. I know when we spoke to the chemists specifically about this, one of the concerns with children is that they actually can become quite highly sensitive to a lot of intense natural ingredients. So specifically essential oils. So it's my understanding from our chemists that generally speaking, we're actually not supposed to recommend these types of products for children that are not in their like preteen or teen years. But I also know that I have my own son, and from a very, very young age, meaning the minute he was born, he was using all of the Davines products. And so with that, that's where I'm going to say for me, it's really going to be an individual choice. But I actually think that it's very important that we're not going to be kind of presenting it as a product for children. So that's going to be something that I would definitely keep in mind, is that, you know, it can be highly sensitive. Any products that are going to have a highly natural fragrance. And so that's going to be something definitely to consider. But again, I know many people that have used Davines products on children, but we're just not supposed to go out and promote it that way. The fragrance, rosemary and lavender. You know what, Dennis? I feel like it could be accurate, but I actually don't know that I have it written down anywhere. So if you know if that is the answer, I would love to know it. Otherwise, I can definitely look into it. I wouldn't be surprised if it is those, but it could be something else. I'm going to smell it right now and see if I can tell. My nose has been running lately with allergies, so it's like, okay, there definitely is lavender in there. And so I'm going to guess that you're correct, but you know what? I will look into this, and then I will get back to you guys. I'll post it somewhere like on social media or something, just for the sake of making sure that we have it out there for the public, because it is always nice to know. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and continue to move forward in our conversations. So CSA farms. I know sometimes people are like, so why are we talking about farms in this moment? But hopefully you guys know by Davines supporting slow food farms that this has been a huge value and importance to us. Thinking of the fact of knowing the origin of our ingredients, but also being able to support the local people that are producing products and farming ingredients and fruits and vegetables in the way that they originally were meant to be planted. So for us, the CSA farm, the community supported agriculture, is a social and environmental campaign to raise awareness. And so that's going to be one of the things that we took on as a strong focus for us. Specifically in Earth Month, we feel like it really does draw an alignment, but also I think in this time frame, when we start to realize that it is important where and who we're going to support, and that some of the smaller businesses are the ones that really need us more than ever. So CSA is a community-supported agriculture. Consumers can directly support farmers and support their local farms by looking up CSA farms, but also most of the time you'll notice them at local farmers markets. It connects farmers to the people that are eating the food, and it just creates that whole complete system. It allows consumers to basically purchase a share and to support these farms. So in a sense, when you're supporting essential hair care, you're naturally supporting the local farms in Italy. But then how can we further support the farms within our communities? First of all, it is going to be through awareness. So with that, Davines took on this project and wanted to put a focus on it for Earth Month, which is basically a way to really connect agriculture, communities, farmers, and our food. It's the perfect way to basically connect us together and to support sustainability, which deeply resonates within Davines. And so that's going to be why the project for us. So what we would love is that when you're using Davines and when you find the slow food farms or the CSA farms, to be able to really promote and support them in your business, but also on social media. We have a program that we're doing locally in Vancouver, which is called Sustainable Stylist. And so one of the things that we were working on Monday was the whole idea of like maybe once a week, being able to put up a small like stand within your salon to support a CSA farm, even if it was just flowers, something to kind of show that alignment and to help the end consumer know by purchasing the products that they are further connecting in that capacity. So for Earth Month, this is the promotion that currently was supposed to be going on, but we do actually have it available for you. And so what it basically is that when you're buying the essential shampoo and conditioner, you get the CSA bracelet, which is going to be this bracelet. So on one side it says Davines, and on the other side it has like the little plant. I don't know how easy that is for you to see, but this is going to be the reminder of supporting the CSA farms. And so this is something that we ended up putting together just to bring that awareness and to kind of put that full circle so that then the end consumer really understands why and how special essential hair care is, but also the values within Davines. So that's something that is currently going on. That is something that you could participate in and also wear with the bracelet. The other thing is, for coming up with what's new with Davines, is we have Oil Butter, the Curl Building Serum, and Liquid Spell, sorry. I kind of changed it from travel size to small sizes. I figured that the term travel maybe doesn't sit so well with us right now. So I'm like, small sizes. It's a great way to try a product. It is a great product for the purpose of being able to, outside of the Liquid Spell, but the Oil Hair Butter and the Curl Building Serum are products that you could use those containers for refilling, but also is a great way to be able to try them. So these are going to be the newer sizes that were introduced last month. And again, I just thought it'd be a nice way for you to be able to see what it is that we have since things kind of shut down at the time frame. The Liquid Spell, you probably are noticing on social media in different ways, is a gift with purchase. So what that means is that for salons that are purchasing certain volumes, they're given a gift with purchase of the travel size of Liquid Spell that they can give out, but the actual size itself will be available for purchase as well. Oil Hair Butter. This was launched last year and is definitely a rich product within the oil family, keeping in mind that this is a great protectant against sun. The whole oil line has so many benefits for protecting hair against the aging benefits of sun, but also of color and of heat. And so this will be an extra support because it is a richer conditioner. For finer textures of hair, you can use it prior to shampooing. So put the conditioner in first, the butter in first, rinse, shampoo, and then you can leave it as is, or you can use it before and after. So it gives you many different ways that you can use this beautiful product. I know many people that have said they're prone to sort of like dreadlocks or kind of the way that their hair can get caught up in their collar, that this is something that they can go ahead and use to best support them and their texture of hair, but it doesn't weigh the hair down. Curl Building Serum, one of our top sellers to support curly hair, can be blow dried in or left to be natural. So this will be a great way for you to be able to introduce this product. And actually the retail size generally is quite a bit. I mean, if you had a shorter texture of hair. So this, the small size is gonna be a great way to be able to try it. Ethio Trees. I was super excited about this whole idea when this was launched, and I think this was actually around last year as well. Ethio Trees is Davines' way of now being 100% carbon neutral. So I think many of you have heard the fact that last year when I was traveling with Davines, they zero impact all of my flights. So all of my travel was completely carbon neutral by donating money that matched the travel that I was creating, sort of the carbon emissions, through Trees. Trees is based out of Ethiopia, and it is a non-profit. So what that basically means is that it's an organization that solely is for the purpose of making the world a better place. And in this situation, what we're looking at is we're looking at reforestation projects that are going to offset carbon emissions, but also sustaining agriculture in the communities and increasing access to clean water. So they go underneath in the soil there, and they're able to basically find ways to cleanse the water, but to also bring that water systems to the surface so that it can further improve the quality of life for people in Ethiopia. Because of the type of land mass that we're looking at, although it may not be in North America, and although it may not be in Italy, it has such a strong impact. You know, when you think of the different jungles or the rainforest, they say it's like the lungs of the earth, right? And so any of these places, although they may be far away, the impact of improving the quality and the resources there has so much impact long-term, but also throughout the world. So why Ethiopia? The impact of this project is significant because it is connected to the rural livelihoods of Ethiopia and also the health and wellness of the people, but also of the water and bringing the forest back to life. There's plenty of room for improvements, as you can see here, in the restoration of many of these areas, and specifically because this is an area that is a desert. So this is why we ended up picking, and I know that it was actually a fairly long process to decide where would be the place that we wanted to form our alignment. So all of the products and the way that Davines operates is completely offset 100% carbon neutral through Trees, as well as keeping in mind with Davines, when we're manufacturing products, we're using renewable and recyclable energy, but we're also using geothermic energy. Geothermic energy is energy that is coming from the center of the earth. I think it was about 2 years ago that I discovered that, and I had no idea that that was even an option, let alone something that Davines had taken on. And it really, really is impressive to think of, again, when we purchase our products from Davines and whatever the price that it is. Let's just say, you know, the price is, I'm just gonna just say $30, for example. Many times when people are purchasing a product that's $30, there's a panel of people that are sitting together saying, if we make it this color, we make it this packaging, we promote it in this way, we can get away with a price being of a certain price point. But in this case, when you think of all of the little points and steps along the way, this really, really is the value of the product, if not maybe even lower than the value of all of those aspects. So the results, with the results of this, as you can see here, this is basically where climate change is going to make a difference, because it's the reduction of 10,000 tons of CO2 annually, which allows the generation of the carbon credits to be certified. This is where we are going to have that strong partnership with Trees, and it is transparency that we are able to basically ensure that this is going to be where all of our products are going to be carbon neutral moving forward. So this started last year. Compensating the emissions, so 100% of the production of Davines and Comfort Zone and the skincare product packaging and the Davines Village and the branches, so all the Davines offices worldwide are supported in this way. So really, really exciting for us to be able to have that type of support. Oops, sorry, I went over too far when I was trying to let someone in to the meeting. So after that, now what I wanted to do is share the tale of beauty. I'm hoping that some of you guys have actually noticed or came across the Tale of Beauty, which is a tiny little booklet that sits on the top of Minu, Love Smoothing, and Nunu. So it fits perfectly on the top of the conditioner container. So as you can see here, that would be sitting right up on the top there for the Love, Minu, and for Nunu. So this is a pretty great thing to be able to support, for the fact that Davines took the time to make a story of Davines for the end consumer to be able to share and appreciate when they purchase the conditioner. So I'm going to run you through what the little book is like so that you're able to see it. But at this time, it is in the warehouse, so it is available for you. So this is what we're going to look at when we think of the story. So there once was a family called the Bellotti family in Parma, Italy. And so this is the picture of them. I love this picture. Definitely, it's got some fun, fun attire going on. And then the next one is going to be, they had a vision to make sustainable hair care products, starting in their garage. So again, what I think is incredible is that these are stories that I heard, but sometimes when you hear stories like that, you're like, okay, did someone really make the products in their garage to start? I'm gonna have to be honest, sometimes it crossed my mind is like, am I stretching the truth? Like, is that truly what happened? But it's in a booklet, it is a fact, it is how Davines originated. So then, sorry, I keep moving the thing so I can make sure that I'm reading it accurately. In 1993, their first products were born carrying the Davines logo, a combination of letters from the siblings, Davide and Stefania. So the son and the daughter, Davide and Stefania, that's where you get the name. And so as you can see, the logo originally was Davines, but more in sort of the bolder letters. And then this was meant to be sort of handcrafted. So it's actual handwriting of the logo to show kind of the handcrafted aspect of the products. The family always sought harmony between science and nature. The brand's in-house lab and chemists made a passion of this pursuit. So again, remembering the fact that it is that balance between nature and science, because it is important to have performance and not just make it about natural. If something is just about natural and it doesn't have the ability to perform, then we potentially are wasting those ingredients. And also remembering that we have this in-house lab, that's how we're going to be able to ensure that we are getting the results that we would like to have, but we're able to practice and perform all of these ingredients and these products on many different cultures throughout the world. So Davide, always energized with wanderlust, looking to the world for inspiration, Davines grew into the cultural, diverse, made in Italy brand that it is today. And then the little brand from Parma eventually opened offices in various cities around the world. So this is where you're going to notice some of them that you probably have been to before. Hopefully you've been to the one in New York. If not, it's kind of actually exciting, although it may be a bit before I even get to it, but there is a new office being opened in New York this fall, which was why the Worldwide Hair Tour was going to be this fall, so that we would have a chance to be able to see it. But regardless, the next time that we can travel there, we will be able to go and visit it. Always trying to refine their philosophy, they eventually hit upon the tagline, sustainable beauty, 2 words that carried so much importance that Davines wrote a manifesto about expressing ideals like freedom of expression, multicultural curiosity, transparency, and collaboration. So these are going to be all of the different words that you'll see within the Davines story, but within the purpose. I actually have one of the little balls that are handmade from Parma, Italy, from the Davines Village. And so these are all around the village that basically when you open them up, they have these little boxes or blocks that kind of give all of the different words like curiosity, multicultural curiosity, that word is a tongue twister for me, transparency, freedom of expression, all of those different words that are meaningful and part of Davines' Carta Etica. Humanity and respect for the environment grew ever more important, leading the brand to make most of its products carbon neutral. So I have to say, when this book was made, it was most of them, but now it is all of them. So that's how much can change in a year. As it got larger, it became more and more conscious of making positive impact on the world and doing what it could to take responsibility for the planet and improving the one place everyone calls home. I think we definitely are recognizing that if we didn't before, because as we're seeing the time that we have been more in our homes and less out in the community, we're able to see that the improvements that it's had on the environment have been so significant in just a few weeks, really, in the scheme of things. So Davines became a B corporation or benefit corporation in 2016 to use business as a force for good. So the B certification, the B Corporation, certifies that Davines adheres to all of the values that are important for the community, but also for the environment. And so this is an important certification that really is sharing all of the values and purpose of Davines in one aspect. And what I love about a certification such as this is it is a way to identify that it is not just Davines saying that it is doing these things, but it is an official certification. All this helped the brand to find its true purpose to be the best for the world, creators of good life for all through beauty, ethics, and of course, sustainability. After years of dreaming, the Bellotti family built the Davines Village where every product is crafted. It opened in the summer of 2018, and I'm hoping some of you had the opportunity to be there too, as the physical incarnation of sustainable beauty. It is truly a beautiful village. Every detail within this village was well thought out and well planned. I believe that this was the dream of the Bellotti family from the minute that they started off in their garage. And this is something where when I see someone sharing their passion, really and truthfully, when you are passionate about something and you stay true to the values, it's not about the money that you're generating, but what naturally happens is that the money will come and you will be profitable when you align and go from your passion and not just about the sale. And that's where I feel that the transparency and the values of Davines really shine to show that we can make the world a better place by our simple choices and by leading by the example and the purpose that we individually have. The brief family story reads like a fairy tale, but sometimes fantasy and reality come together to make something beautiful and good. You just have to believe. So this is the little booklet that will be on those 3 conditioners. And it says, thank you for being a vital piece of our story and for helping us write the next chapters. So again, the Love conditioner, the Me New conditioner, and the New conditioner. I believe there was 30,000 of these made, but you can also get the books itself in like a larger version. Again, the shipping right now could vary depending on your distributor, but they eventually will be available. But I know at West Coast Beauty, these conditioners with the booklets do exist on them. And so that's kind of why I wanted to share this as something that, can kind of give us a little bit of hope and just refocus some of our attention and our energy. So with this, Davines in the news, I thought that it would be fun just for you guys to see some of the different things that come through for us within Davines. So these are going to be ways that Davines has received recognition. And so when I look at that, I think it's great for you guys to be aware of the same so that you can share this with the end consumer. So we're going to start with our Solu shampoo, and there's just a quick to go through. So our Solu shampoo, someone's saying it's a great shampoo who basically processes their hair regularly and does other services because of the fact that the buckwheat, which has a great ability to support the structure of the hair with amino acids, can remove any residue. When you think of amino acids, they're the building blocks for proteins, but also for moisture. So this is a great cleansing shampoo that basically is a reset. I love to use this once a week, and most products are going to be something that are recommended for once a week to have a new kind of like refresh to kind of cleanse whatever is happening on your scalp or your hair. And that's going to be where I would recommend going with it. So great that they were able to receive such good recognition in editorial. So then when we look at our Momo shampoo, this is our drink of water. I love this one because this is like my general go-to when in doubt. But it says it flatters, just reading right now, it flatters most skin tones by adding richness to the skin. I'm like, what are they talking about? That's a different part. Okay, all right. They recommend that the Momo shampoo and conditioner help prolong the color. So that's gonna be one of the big ones. And thinking of the fact of the moisture, right? With this one, thinking of the slow food farms, when we look at slow food farms, in this case, the yellow melon, the seeds from the yellow melon are actually brought back to the farm to continue that cycle. And so moisture is going to be incredible for a great support. Also, the Sodu sea salt scrub, which is newer for us, again with a slow food farm and looking at the sea salt. So due to the larger part of sea salt that helps lift up and exfoliate impurities. So this is going to be your exfoliator, great for your scalp, great for your hair. The skin just feels kind of like revitalized, but it also gives a gentle bit of volume and fullness. Then when you're going to look at the Love Curl Conditioner, the Love Curl Conditioner, I really appreciate and enjoy the whole Love Curl family because of the fact of curly hair. Generally what you're going to see is that at the root area, the hair is often going to have a fair bit of oil or moisture, but as the hair goes to the ends, it's going to be harder to bring that all the way through. And so this is something that's going to enable the hair and the curl to have that same curl formation right the way through. When you use the curl conditioner, this is going to be great for more elasticity and bounce, whereas the mask is going to be one that's going to help control a little bit more. I've trusted this thick, luxurious conditioner for longer than I can remember. It's a mainstay in my shower because it leaves my hair feeling soft, hydrated, and loved. It's basically impossible to not have good hair after the use. So again, a great support and testimonial. Rebalancing. Rebalancing is going to be our product that is meant for oily scalps. So this is going to manage sebum production. I love to use this one because of the fact that the lemons are an easy way for the end consumer to understand the control that lemons would provide for oil. If you have a dish that has olive oil in it and you squeeze the lemon, naturally the olive oil would disperse. So think of it that way. When lemons are put into a product, being a phytoceutical, so highly concentrated, it's going to have the ability to help control. For people that don't want to wash their hair as often, or for people that feel like maybe they touch their fringe a lot, I could be one of them, but also sometimes hair that just becomes oily for a time frame. This is going to be a great support for you to manage that oil production. And our Oil Body Wash, the best body wash for overall anti-aging. So remembering that the Davines Body Wash is loaded with antioxidant-rich Roku oil. It has a creamy consistency, kind of like a top-notch hand soap that leaves your hands feeling extremely soft and cleansed. I have to tell you that this is the one that I've actually been using in my bathroom right now. And here's one of the things that I've just noticed that's incredible. Prior to me putting this in my bathroom, I was starting to notice that my hands were feeling pretty rough from all of the hand sanitizer and all of the cleansing and the washing that I was doing. The minute that I put this into my bathroom for my hands, I've noticed that my hands feel like, even right now, they feel soft and supple just by using this. So this is a great support that you could be using, obviously, as a body wash, but you can also be using it as a hand wash in your bathrooms. We do have little pumps that you can put on them. So it's a great support, and just reminding people of the fact of, you can wash your hands and still get the benefits without your hands feeling raw and dry from sort of the overuse of washing for cleansing routines. As it says here, it helps restore your skin to its healthiest state after a day's worth of environmental damage and UV rays. So again, reminding us of the protection that it has for sun. Use it regularly and add it against the signs of aging, and you may look a decade younger than your friends in many years. So definitely keeping in mind, if your hands are something that we're using this for in the sink, hands are one of the areas that we first see signs of aging. Aging we're going to notice in our neck, in our hands, and around our eyes. So if you're using this as a body wash, great to be using it for your body, but specifically as a hand wash, I love it for the fact of the softness that it provides. Oil. This is definitely our top seller between this and the Oil Milk. The Davines Oil Absolute Beautifying Potion is a luxurious and gorgeous smelling serum to detangle and seriously reduce frizz. My coworkers thought I had a salon appointment. My hair looked so good despite the fact that I have no hairdressing skills. What does that tell us right now? this is a perfect product that you could use right now for people that are not having the ability to get their hair cut, because it will help their hair look and feel soft and shiny, reduces frizz, but also it does have a perfume scent to it that is noticeable as Davines. So others say it works better than a Moroccan oil and smells so good it can replace your perfume. Keeping in mind with this product, it is not going to be able to have the ability to change your blonde color. So it doesn't have the ability to change color, which is also going to be a really important factor. You can use it wet or dry. And now we go through our Oil Milk. So this has definitely been our top seller, I think now for 2 years. I think it overtook the oil. So as I can say here, we've moved past the perming part. That's where I always get kind of look at, but basically you use the Davines Oil Milk and then leave it untouched to air dry. It waves and flatters overnight. So you can spritz it in, or you can apply it in your hands this way. So since we have Amazon.com on there, I thought I'd also take the opportunity to share what the positioning is with Amazon with Davines. So a few years ago, Davines did align with Amazon.com for the purpose to manage and control the third-party selling. So what that means is that any salon that closes, or salons that are not following the guidelines, or people that are not following the guidelines, if they were selling online, they could sell and it would show up as Davines. When Davines partnered with Amazon, it meant that Amazon would keep the prices exactly the same, but in turn, the revenue that comes from Amazon.com, which is actually not as much as you would think prior, I don't know about right now, but prior to what we're experiencing, all of that money was put together to give you the gift with purchase that you now receive when you hit the volume of purchases. So for us, that's going to be a really important thing. It's our way to give back to the end salon, but in turn, the end consumer. On Amazon.com, they are not doing any of the promotions, and the pricing must remain the same. So this is an important part for us to be aware of. And so with that, that's where you're going to see kind of the recognition here when you're seeing sometimes things in the news. Love this. This is definitely one of my new favorites. So 31 new products for December for you to gift yourself. So this is the Texturizing Serum. This is an incredible product. It basically performs very similar to the texturizing spray, but it is in a creamy consistency. And as you can see here, it's new to the More Inside range, and it gives the hair structure and style, but a little goes a long way. You can use it before blow drying or in curls or just for volume or texture. The environmentally conscious will appreciate the carbon neutral packaging. So remembering that the paper itself is 100% biodegradable, so it can be compostable, and it is vegetable-based inks and water-soluble glues. And then moving into our last few here, we are going to look at the hair refresher. There is a rice starch that is used in this to absorb the oils. So again, you can use this ahead of time. For me, many times I will use the dry shampoo, basically the hair refresher at the start of my day so that it absorbs oil throughout the day. So this is going to be a great product that gives gentle texture, but also works as a dry shampoo. And then finally, we will look at what is our purity circle. I love the fact that the purity circle is going to have the charcoal, which absorbs any of the unwanted oil, but any of the pollution as well. So this is going to be a great product that is in a beautiful package that you can use many times. Although it says it can be more of a single use, I feel like I can use this 5 or 6 times, and it absorbs any of the unwanted oil, but it also will give you nice volume and fullness, but it makes your scalp feel alive. So those are some of the fun ones that you could start to focus. And again, I can send you any of this information and you can feature it on your social media to help people bring awareness to the various products that exist, but also what they can be purposed for and supported. So here are the links that I have that I can share with you. If there's any of these that you wanted, you can just text me, which is my login number here. So for sustainability on Tuesdays, I did have a program that was at-home tips and salon tips. Wednesdays, which is for business, I had a conversation about retail, which is a retailing program. I had a workshop on incentives and maximizing productivity. For Fridays, I covered the Davines product families and color, natural tech, and then of course today. And then here's what's going to be coming up in the next month. For sustainability, the next Tuesday is going to be Davines and sustainability. Then I believe that I will cover the master course again. Then there's going to be sustainability and how you can share that message through social media. And then the last one I have in May, which will be client involvement for sustainability. So kind of how to align yourself and your salon guests with sustainability. For business, next week is going to be how to work on your salon culture and creativity. The next one, which will be in the beginning of May, I'm excited about because it's about virtual consultations. The concept that I've been sharing, which is the idea of having a virtual consultation prior to your clients coming in so that you can minimize the time that they're in the space, but also maximize the impact of an official consultation and recommendations. Then the next one we have in May, which will be all about product displays, because this will also be another factor that probably should be considered for when we return. And then looking at promotions within your salon, calendar planning, but also kind of the value of maybe some of the supports that you can put in place for clients that are ongoing and returning. So this is basically pretty summarizing what we have been kind of presenting and what we have to look forward to. I basically am giving us a timeline that we should hopefully be back in action by June. Please don't hold me to that, but that's kind of like how I'm trying to look at things, just to kind of give us some fun projects to work on, some inspiration, but also ways to share together. So with that, that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope that you found some of the information that you can utilize for your own home use with some of the products, but also for your use within salons, but the end consumer, and better connect sort of with the why with Davines, but also the why with our single shampoo, which is our newest addition within Davines, summarizing the purpose and the values of Davines. Any questions that you guys have at all, feel free to unmute yourself or to message in, because I'd love to hear from you. Maybe no questions? Okay, what I'll do is I will end the video just right now anyhow, just since we are done with that, and then I'll just stay on for a minute in case there's anything that you guys have to say. But again, thank you so much for joining today, but I'll stay on for a few more minutes.